right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome. This is Adrian, and I'm here with my friend Brentman19.
How's it going, guys?
And it's gonna be time for another weekly episode of Eat, Sleep, Game, Repeat, the one-stop shop for your strategy, gaming, and technology news. The one-stop
This is
shop.
week 3. Week 3. Did I not talk about last week? Habits, man. This is week 3. This is a habit now. We're gonna be stuck here at 9 o'clock every Sunday night, streaming and recording this.
Week 3.
Week 3. In a world.
In a world.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, I don't know about you, man. I felt like it was kind of a quiet week, but there's still plenty to talk about. There's a lot going on throughout the nerd and geek kingdoms, as I like to call it. There's plenty to have happened. Slow weeks are not truly slow weeks, I guess. Not in the normal world. So I don't know. Let's hop right on in, man. I feel like we have enough to talk about to last us an hour. So
sounds good, man. Sounds good. You want to take the first topic?
Yeah, I'll take it. All right. So, of course, I guess the big thing on every Paradox gamer's mind, Imperator Rome, getting its first update. Was it 1.0.1? Is that right? Am I guessing that right?
1.01. 1.01.
1.01. That's right. So everybody, getting rid of some of those problems, the people that said they were having stuttering issues, things like that. We're just we broke through those, I guess. I never had that problem. And I'll be honest, though, I really haven't played much. Have you seen any differences? I mean,
so it's funny actually. The 1.01 patch, it cleared up, to my knowledge, it cleared up some of the stuttering issues, and there's been some pretty hard crashes that I've heard from people. Not me so much. I get a crash every now and again. Other people have been talking about some serious freezing and some serious crashes. Apparently those are fixed. But there's actually some sort of bug with the peace deals going on right now as you click on a province and it won't let you take it in a peace deal. And so I don't know. I'm kind of astounded by how prevalent this issue really is. And so people are talking about it all over Reddit. Really, I've seen a lot of people, more than I was expecting, saying, what's going on with this? Why can't I take this province in a peace deal? And yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was so bad, in fact, that Paradox had to release a beta hotfix, which is 1.02. And so I've played 1.02. I just skipped 1.01. 1.01 came out, I think, on Wednesday, and then by like Thursday morning, 1.02 was available for the beta. I think they're going to release it officially next week. That's how bad this issue was. I don't know. They fixed it in 1.02, so I haven't had any issues myself, but people are really mad on Reddit.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, so everybody was already mad with just the initial release, and then you've got some random issue that's popped up that is causing even more, and you're trying to fix it again. I can see the anger. At the same time, though, I can see why we all, I can see why everybody should be outraged. I guess I can say that, but I can see why we all also at the same time need to take a step back and say, hey, they're going to fix it, because that's what they do. That's what Paradox does. It's not like they're sitting back. This isn't like we've known about this glitch for 3 months and we're not releasing anything. Oh, no, they're going to fix it. I mean, at the same time, though, I think they're eating through goodwill, though.
I do agree with that. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
From a marketing and PR, standpoint, you only have so many rooms for, I guess, not putting it softly, but for fuck ups, you have zero room for it. And when you do have it, you've got to handle it correctly. And you don't handle it by putting out another issue. So, I mean, maybe it just wasn't tested enough, or maybe it's just unforeseen on, there's more. My computer is not the only type of computer out there. Adrian's isn't the only one. I mean, there's probably, I don't know, thousands of configurations out there trying to run Imperator Rome, and people are going to have problems. Something out there is going to be causing a problem. And it may not happen for me, and it might happen for Adrian, or it happens for you. I mean, it may happen to 10 people out of 1,000, and they just don't know, because they don't have that whole 1,000, machine set up ready to try to test the fix. So,
and what it's actually is kind of interesting. Before we move on to the dev diary for 1.1, a lot of people have actually been kind of pondering, maybe this game was rushed. There seems to be just little details here and there that this game did not get the time that it needed. And there's actually another subject that we'll get into later in the podcast that will explain a little more. You'll hear the words from the horse's mouth himself. So, you want to jump on into the Imperator Rome dev diary?
Yeah, let's go right for it. Straight for the kill, man. I'm all about it. All right. I actually may have the wrong dev diary. That would definitely happen.
Let's see, I got 29th of April, 2019.
Oh, of course I've got the wrong one.
And then, as you know, there was one.
Yeah, go ahead and jump into it. I'll pull it up and I'll know what I'm talking about.
So, the first big patch is going to be 1.1. And they're calling it the Pompeii patch. Should be out, they say, in sometime in June before the summer holidays. I think their summer holidays are around like June 15th or so, around that time. They want to change up the technology system, so let's see. They say unless you were a really small country, it was impossible to catch up on time, so they have a reversed ahead of time penalty. So when you're behind, so kind of like EU4, the more you're behind in tech, the more of a discount you're gonna get. But also the ahead of time penalty will work against you as well. So you can catch up, but also now, they want people to be able to catch up in tech. They don't want you to just kind of languish behind in the world and, you're on your own. And then apparently there's a shattered retreat, so you can withdraw from a battle and you get a shattered retreat to go wherever you wanted to, and they felt that was a little overpowered, so they've kind of nerfed that a little bit. Apparently truce breaking, I don't truce break really, but apparently it didn't affect your diplomatic reputation, and now it does, and it will also impact aggressive expansion. So as you truce break in Imperator Rome, now you will receive aggressive expansion as well as diplomatic reputation penalties, which makes sense. Let's see, mercenaries are supposed to be mercenaries are supposed to be a little bit nerfed. I guess they're trying to reduce the amount of mercenaries that are on the map, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's just a lot of different changes. Actually, also we got a subscription with Twitch Prime on Twitch, so thank you, Party Penguin 34. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm finally pulling up for some reason that wanted to keep throwing me back to the 26 dev diary. I don't know what's up with that, but I don't know. I mean, you can see where they're trying to fix some things here. I agree, the shattered retreat thing.
Yeah, I gotta admit, that was a little overpowered. Because what I would do is when I was losing a battle, I would just shatter retreat like very far away, and your army would be ready to go at the time you arrive there, and you can remaneuver and engage again. And I was like, that's a little overpowered. If you were to get a shattered retreat, but you couldn't pick where to retreat to, that might be a little better.
See, I was seeing some problems where, as I tried to retreat 10 provinces away, it would throw me back 2, and then I'd get overran. I couldn't figure out why it was doing that to me. And I mean, maybe that's fixed. I don't know. I haven't had that problem since.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was little things like that it's infuriating, because there goes your entire army like that. So it definitely kind of ticked me off. But yeah, I see they're going to go after war exhaustion being overhauled, or have overhauled it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I've never actually, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't actually think war exhaustion matters all that much in this game. I think they actually probably could do a little more to make it more painful. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I know that it affects kind of severely is national unrest. So your pops become more angry. The thing is I've never even really accrued that much war exhaustion. Like, I don't probably get above like 2 or 3, Whereas like in EU4, if you have like say 5 war exhaustion, like, okay, that's getting kind of high, and it's kind of interesting. I don't know.
It sounds like another day in the park.
Yeah. I was, like I said, I was never really accruing war exhaustion that much. It's kind of interesting that they felt like that was something that they really had to tackle. I was just like, okay, I mean, I never thought it was that big of a deal. Maybe it should be more potent. I guess that's what they're trying to go for. It should be more potent. I don't know.
I mean, I agree. It does need to be more of a thing, but
Mhm.
I mean, I can't really get. I don't know. There are other problems that I'm more worried about
Yep.
right now than
Yep.
that. I don't know. I don't know. For those of you who you didn't hear it because we did this before the start of the show. I've actually kind of quit playing a little bit. Just to kind of get into it. I really haven't done a monthly channel update video as of yet. I will do it after this is over, but it's just one of those things where as far as the game goes, it's not my favorite time period, so I have not really gotten a chance to play it too much. That's why I'm kind of letting Adrian lead this one more. It's just it's not my forte. So that's why I'm not sure if these things are good or bad. I just know that, from what we've been hearing though, there are issues. So
Yep. And I would say, I've done a couple streams and I'm still doing Let's Plays on it and stuff like that. And a lot of people have been asking me, they're like, do you like this game? Is it worth getting? That's what a lot of people ask me is it worth getting? And I understand the complaints that people have, and I understand why people are mad about this game. But I still have to admit the game is fun. At least for me, I enjoy the game, and people like sometimes call me out like, oh, how can you be having fun, and how can you like this game that's such bad quality? And I'm just like, well, I can only speak for the experience that I've had, and I enjoy the game and it's fun. And I'm sorry that other people don't have that same perspective on the game or that sort of experience, but I gotta hand it. I think this is definitely an enjoyable and fun grand strategy historical game. And people will debate me on that, I'm sure.
well, I mean, I think at the same time, like, yeah, I'm not sitting here saying I'm not playing because it's not fun. I'm just not. I don't enjoy the time period. I mean, same time, that doesn't mean I won't pick up this game here in 2 weeks and take off with it. I mean, it's still. I had fun playing it. Absolutely. It's just learning it and getting into it. I mean, it's just like any other Paradox game. You got to have the will and the want to sit down with it for 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours at a time and just play.
Yep.
And learn and get at it and then watch the videos. This learning Paradox games is a process. It's not a pop in and I know it. I mean, you got to get in there and you got to experiment and you got to play. And that's not every gamer's want and feel. I mean, most people would prefer the strategy games of old where you just said, I'm going to plop down a building and then I'm going to order up these units and then I'm going to march them into battle. And then, they all died. So I know I can't take on 5 versus, these 6. You had a ton of fun while doing it. So it's just, it's just not the same, I guess, as that anymore. And it's now you've got to sit there and put the time in.
Yep.
If you can't put that time in, I get it. And there's some people sitting here saying, should I buy it? I mean, I've got those questions too. It's one of those things where honestly you need a demo to try it. Where the days of the demos are gone for many games, but this is one where you need to demo it. I wish they had one, so let everybody give it a shot.
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's also kind of been one of my issues with Paradox lately is, at least with EU4. I mean, I played enough of EU4 that I kind of got the hang of it. It's not exactly always a challenge anymore. It's more of a grind, I guess you could say. And with Imperator Rome, I would say it's still fun in that I'm learning new things and trying to optimize things. At the same time, it is, you are correct in saying that it's a labor of love. It's something that you have to put the time into. You have to have the want to put into the game. And I feel slowly like just that flame that makes me want to learn the game and play it is kind of like dissipating a little bit. And I think that's normal to some degree with strategy games and games that you are familiar with. At the same time, I mean, I haven't played Imperator Rome that much, so the fact that that's already happening is maybe a little worrying, but I don't know.
I mean, let's face it, like, sometimes you just want to pick up a game and play. You don't want to be sitting here having to learn. You want to see, you want to see the user interface and you just want to play. You don't want to have to go in there and be like, I got to know, I think we always forget Paradox games they're pretty much board games put into a software, really. I mean, that is what these Paradox games are. They've been designed as board games, and then everything has a modifier and a role or something similar. and it's just you're playing against everybody else who's going through their roles and their modifiers, and I think at this point it's just kind of like we forget that it's not the traditional RTS.
Yep.
In my opinion, it's its own thing. It's not even grand strategy, because I mean I've got other games that are grand strategy that are not roles. It's just, I have a feeling at this point Paradox is just Paradox strategy. Or maybe grand board strategy. I don't know. We need to make up a new term for it or not, but it feels like it's its own thing. And it's, I don't know. I feel kind of being able to even play these games. I don't mean to be sounding elitist, but kind of, I kind of feel like being able to play it in any kind of shape or form to any competent degree, which I'm not claiming I can, but is almost like you set your own self in the world of gaming as that kind of person. You're different than the rest because you've been able to put 1,000 hours into a game and learn it.
And I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I mean, it's not a Fortnite. This is not Fortnite. This is not Call of Duty, where you can I hate to say it if you're a huge fan of those games, but it's kind of mindless compared to doing this. You don't, in Fortnite you die. I guess you pick. I've never played it. Or let's just do Call of Duty. Call of Duty, you die. You just pick up right where you were. I mean, now you just might be a little bit more looking for one person. In these games, you die. You start to die. I mean, you come back and you have to face that person again who just profited off of your death. To a huge degree, because now you're less likely to be able to beat him. And you've got to learn how to go out there and learn everything else to try to offset that. It's not this, it's not the same as just throwing a grenade or, passing somebody on a track or something like that. And there's a lot of difference.
I for one, I love shooters. I've been playing shooters, forever. Some of the shooters that I played is Dave Defeat Source, Team Fortress 2, the Half-Life 2 series, Halo. I mean, I literally just played through all the Halo games on my Xbox One, like a week ago. And I'm one of those people that both enjoy strategy and I like to put in the labor of love, and I love to put in the time and to learn how to play effectively and how to create these new stories. But at the same time, it's like, God, I love just, picking up a shooter and picking up a sniper rifle and just taking people's heads off. I mean, that kind of mindless fun, that action-packed fun can really be quite enjoyable. And sometimes I get kind of burnt out with Paradox games in particular, because it really is, a labor. You got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort, and it can be a long ordeal, and I hope people tempered their expectations for Imperator Rome, and I'm starting to feel like they didn't. I don't know.
Moving forward, because getting off the dev diary a little bit here, that starts moving into our next, little bit of our topic here. And, looking, this is kind of the man himself, Johan, came out and said, he really addressed us all. I love it when a game developer or creator, designer, whoever comes out and talks to us, especially one as respected as Johan. This dude has been doing it for forever. I mean, he's been at Paradox since before, Hearts of Iron 2, he built these games. I guess that's the best way. He is probably the godfather of Paradox. And the guy is really, he laid out himself. His first words are, "It has been a rocky launch in some aspects." With part of the community unhappy. he pretty much said that.
It's funny.
He said it was not as bad as HOI 3, but I wasn't around for that, so I don't know how bad that was. But he's still saying there's the issues, and that we have to understand that they're looking at them. I'm not going to read them word for word here, guys, but I'm just going to tell you. I mean, they know there's the problem.
Okay,
this is this guy's baby.
First thing I do want to say, thank you so much to Ryan to go. He subscribed on Twitch Prime. Thank you so much for that. And it's actually funny. I do want to read some of the key lines here, because on one hand, it feels like he feels very bad about this whole experience, and he's kind of kind of let down by the feedback and by the response that he's gotten. It feels like he wasn't expecting the response that he's gotten.
Right.
He puts something in particular here. Complaints about bare bones games. Quote, this is his quotation. "This is the feedback that I just do not understand. I took everything what I had in Rome 1 and made every mechanic deeper or more complex while adding lots more mechanics to make it into a game. I've not cut away anything when making Imperator to add it to future expansions, and every game mechanic and lots more we had planned was in the original 1.0. I've said before launch that this is the best game I've made, and I still stand by it. 1.0 of Imperator is the best 1.0 we have ever made of a game. Now, there's a few things to pick away in that. That part, that 1.0 is the best 1.0 of a game we've ever made, I agree with that. I do think he's actually correct in that. At the same time, with some of the design decisions that have been implemented in Imperator Rome, it's interesting from his perspective that he thinks he took the mechanics of EU Rome and just made them, quote, deeper and more complex. You know, from his perspective, that's what he's done. And there are plenty of viewpoints, you know, that I've seen on Reddit, that I've seen on YouTube. You know, I've seen a lot of arguments from people that prove that, you know, these mechanics are not as deep and complex as you think. It's just a lot of waiting around. There's a lot of abstractions. And so it makes you really, on one hand, fascinated by what he's trying to say. And at the other hand, it's like, you know, maybe he's just not seeing the forest for the trees here. Maybe he doesn't have enough objectivity about his game to figure out where things work and where things don't. I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on that. What do you think?
I mean, I have to agree. I mean, he reads a lot like, you know, and of course we've read further into this, but a lot of it reads like if I sat here and drew a picture, you know, and everybody else might be like, well, that's, you know, that wasn't that wasn't great. And I'm sitting here thinking it's the best thing ever. You know, you feel like you're going to feel like you're being attacked here. And I feel like you kind of, as a content creator like this, the best ones take a step back and say, whoa, you know, yes, I made this, but maybe there are some things here that need to be worked on. Maybe there, you know, yes, it may actually be the best one we've ever released, but the best one we've ever released wasn't good enough. You know, I mean, I don't know. I always approach things, and maybe I'm just different from, you know, some folks too, but I always approach things as in nothing is ever perfect and nothing is ever, you know, credit, you know, as long as I can sit there and be like, you know, credit where credit is due. We weren't, you know, it was good, but we've got more work to do. And if I feel like, you know, he's taking up for himself and his creative team here. But I feel like he also at the same time needs to like be like, yeah, there are problems. Sorry, you know, we're working on those. You know, still a great game, but understand, you know, if this is like all Paradox titles, this is a game. You know, this is a title where we will get things right as we move along.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the reason why he can't say that is after the DLC nonsense of 2 years ago, where everybody feels like, you know, everything is, you know, behind a gate, you know, a paywall, where to access the better stuff, you have to wait for time. But I feel like they put so much into this one at the same time that nobody can complain so much as that. If, you know, if you got to pay in, you know, a month to get the right thing, you know, get things the right way, that's when they can start, you know, the real complaints can start. So I don't know. I'm mixed feelings, I guess, mixed bag of emotions. So
I want to point out one more thing, particularly where people talk about the mana or the abstracted currencies. He says that I understand that there is a part of the community that dislikes abstracted currencies like prestige, monarch power, influence, political power. He mentions that the base game will continue to use these currencies as they make for a better game, but I acknowledge that there's a group of people who dislike them and prefer another experience. So we will improve the game to be able to support it. And it's like, I don't know, here it sounds as though he acknowledges that people dislike these currencies, these abstracted currencies, but to me, just the way this is written, right? I'm not speaking to him in person, but the way it's written is he doesn't recognize why. You know, he doesn't recognize why people dislike these abstracted currencies. And I mean, there's a video on YouTube by a YouTuber named Remy, you know, and he explains abstracted currencies are really just countdown timers, or they're just waiting games. You know, you just wait to build up this mana and then you press a button. That's not strategy. You know, and I'm not saying I completely agree with him, but I definitely see a fair point in that it doesn't make for a good strategy game. There's a difference between, you know, sending an SCV to mine some minerals and then you have to use those minerals to build other things versus just waiting for mana and then you click a button. You know, I have to admit, I think those are two different things. And I feel like Johan in this post that he has does not understand why abstracted currencies are bad. He just acknowledges some of you guys dislike them because, you know.
Like it's almost like there's people have no reason to dislike them in his mind. I agree with you. It may not seem different to a lot of you out there, but you know, when you send out a citizen or work something or whatever to go out and go pick, you know, let's say go chop down a tree and bring that wood resource back to the collection point, you had to physically think about that. Do I want to send them that far out? I had to think about sending, you know, creating that citizen or that worker or whatever to go get that and then go do it, pull it back. Man, you know, like I'm just sitting here waiting, you know, waiting around for, you know, to get a little bit more civic power. You know, I mean, it's almost like I'll get it in 2 months, and in 2 months I'm going to press a button, then I got to wait 18 more to do something else. I get it. I completely do. I don't think it is strategy gaming to wait like that. It's almost like waiting for a timer in, you know, waiting for your shield to regenerate in Halo. I mean,
Yep.
It's honestly kind of the same thing. You know, you're waiting for this to happen so then you can go back out there and play. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that you should just be able to make every single decision at one time, neither. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking there needs to be a little bit more to getting it.
Well, and you know, like for example, the example about the citizen, you know, what I think is the core of strategy is opportunity cost, right? So if I have a citizen and I have to choose between getting food or getting wood, my decision is an opportunity cost. What's more important at the time, wood or food? Same thing with Halo. To be perfectly honest, in that sense, right? When you're fighting the Covenant and your shields are gone and you have to wait for them to regenerate, that's an opportunity cost. You're either going to kill more Covenant or you're going to die, right? And you have to make that choice. You have to make that choice in a specific instance of time. There's not both. You can't have both. You have to choose one or the other. Wait for a little bit, go back out there, kill more Covenant. Wait for a little bit, go back out there, kill more Covenant. You know, and there's a rhythm to it, right? And that's precisely, I think, the problem with mana in some respect is that what is your opportunity cost, right? If I can choose between assimilating a pop or, you know, say fabricating a claim on a province, I can do both those things. I just have to wait, right? I'm gonna get enough power. There's no real choice. There's no real consequence to just saying, well, let me assimilate the pop first and then get the province claim. Would you lose a little bit of time? I mean, I don't
know. I mean, look at it this way too. That I mean, we had some difference because this can be tracked through almost every Paradox game. When it comes to just Monarch, you know, points too. I mean, in EU4, I mean, look at EU4 though. There were things that you could do to increase it in other areas. Hey, I can spend a little bit more money for a better advisor. I could promote my advisors. I could, you know, but at the start of the game, you were sitting there choosing like, do I even have enough money for an advisor, you know, to get this? I lose some money now and have less army, or, you know, you had to make some actual thoughts about this. And that's just really not there in Imperator as far as I can see. I mean, from what I've seen with it is you got your ruler and that's what you get. You know, I mean, I have no real choice of my ruler if you're a monarchy. I mean, I guess I can try to line up and the right people over time, but that's like that's not real strategy overall. I mean,
and I have to absolutely agree with you. I find the lack of input that you have in, say, a ruler of some kind, you know, I find it remarkable. You know, you look to a game with Crusader Kings 2, and you have all of this power to tutor your heir. You know, you have all this power to change the experience and the type of ambitions that your ruler has, and those will affect your stats. But in Imperator Rome, there really doesn't feel like any way to influence somebody's statistics. It seems very random. you know.
Well, I mean, it's not like there's not things that they could do either. I mean, we are sitting here, we're debating, and it'd be different. It's one thing to sit there and point out a problem. It's a different thing to like have it, point out the problem and then provide a solution. It's not like they couldn't go out there and change something, simple changes at that. Hey, build a temple to, Apollo or something like that, and you'll get, you can only have, you can have it at certain levels and it costs so much money to build this thing. But as you do it, you can increase your mana for this, I mean, thing is, when you're doing that, you're spending your money that, you may not want to spend on that. It's, give me something, I mean,
or even something as simple as advisors. I mean, to my knowledge, I gotta double check, but I'm pretty sure advisors, no matter the level of advisors, you don't gain or lose any mana in Imperator, right? It's constant. It's only based off the ruler and your national ideas, so to speak. The degree of expertise of your rulers affects other modifiers, but not your mana generation. And it's like, why is that so abstracted? Why not just make it, the higher level your advisors, maybe you get +1 mana. Why is that so strange? I don't know. It's really weird.
See, I'm actually just reading some things off chat, basically how people just agree. And EU4 used to have, you like we were talking about, you're having advisors, focus on estates, so you can actually just farm them. In some sense, they're just, not abstract there. There's no need to farm them here, and I actively miss that. This is from Taco Bowler on my channel. Just also Oratory is so much more important that it's not even funny. I mean, he's right. There's some are just way out there more important. Like, let's face it, you're not using religious mana very much, though.
It's true.
You're going to go out there. You might get some stability. You might get a little stability. You might go out there and put in, an omen, and that's about all you're doing with it. I haven't seen another use for it, and why is it even there? Why? I mean, I don't know. I feel like, honestly, they could have used the same exact Monarch points from EU4, and I've been fine. I don't see why I have some of this stuff. It's
well, whatever. and one of my Twitch viewers makes a really good point. He says the fact that everything costs mana is whack, and that I wish there were other resources like diplomats and missionaries from EU4 available, because those are opportunity costs, right? How you use a diplomat, if you use a diplomat for one function, you can't use them for another. That is a strategic choice, right? There is an opportunity cost involved there. Same thing with a missionary. Whereas I feel like there is almost none of that in Imperator Rome. There is just no decision that's an opportunity cost, and I never really appreciated it until it wasn't there. It's kind of interesting. It's an interesting.
I mean, I know you may not agree, but I don't know. I've been kind of playing Hearts of Iron 4, learning the game. Finally, 2 years, 3 years after release, I'm learning this game, and I would have liked the idea. You have specific trade goods in places. Why the heck could I not have said, use something, sit there and saying, okay, my guys researched better ways to pull out this certain type of research, this certain type of trade good, and then said, I have a collection of horses, I have a collection of elephants, I have a collection of wood. Now, a collection of iron. Okay, I can build certain units, because I have that collection now, deplete my supply. I mean, that strategy, that is, it's not point and click. I can sit there and choose what to focus on, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a huge loss there. I mean, they're not going to ever go that way. This is hard. Paradox is not known to do that. It'd be another it'd be a mod, or it'll be some Paradox interactive, not the development studio that puts it out for something like that ever. So I don't know. I'm kind of getting mad talking about it. I feel like now I'm just here like, I'm making this game in my head what I want, and it's just not there.
And we can they are working on things, and I trust in time that they'll get it right. But I don't know if I'm going to get flack for this, just going on record in public and saying I sometimes wonder if Johan is the captain that should steer the ship. I do wonder if perhaps, somebody else who's probably has plenty of experience with Paradox Development Studio, but perhaps somebody younger, perhaps somebody who's more in tune with with the strategy market and with the grand strategy market, for this period of time, right? I mean, this is the big year for strategy. This is Total War Three Kingdoms. This is Imperator Rome. There's gonna be a big, EU4 expansion coming out pretty soon with the patch and everything like that. The European update. I mean, I do sometimes wonder if somebody else should be at the helm of all of this. Would the development of this game be different?
And you drive a point there. Strategy nowadays is no longer the genre is no longer the strategy that we remember. The strategy of 10 years ago was Total War and Civ and even some of those old games like the Age ofs and the just things like that they're not there anymore. There was I haven't played Anno 1800. I have no clue what that's like. That's similar to what we're talking about here, but strategy these days has now become tycoons and business simulations and city builders. That's considered strategy, and it's a valid segment, but that's the best we've gotten recently. And I mean, I don't really get to play those. I wish I did, but just the business management games and all that are really taking over the strategy market. It's because they do well and they give people what they want. It's what you expect. So, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe, there'll be two of us on Flack for this. Maybe Paradox does need to have somebody, needs to at least bring somebody in with the same amount of control and same amount of, power to sit there and say, this is the direction we need to go. We need to give, they need to go a little more populist, in my opinion, of their games. They need to ask us, not me and Adrian, they need to ask everybody who plays their games, what do you want? What are you after? And we said this, 2 episodes ago. They're giving us what we want. They're giving us what we want, and I kind of feel like now, like, are they really? Are they really giving us what they want? What we want? They're giving me new. I got shiny, but is it really what I want?
And I think it's a fair question. Like everybody knows I'm a Victoria 2 fanboy. You give me a remastered or updated Victoria 2 that runs and looks as beautiful as Imperator Rome is, shit, I'm good. You've pleased me. And that's the thing, is you kind of mentioned, this current environment is full of a lot of business simulators, full of a lot of simulations and that sort of thing. And I feel like Victoria or something like it really would flourish in this kind of environment. I think if you look at the success of City Skylines, right, even Anno 1800, people are interested in that sort of thing. And economic simulators or I mean, like, if you look at the truck simulators and that sort of thing, right? I mean, the transport simulators, people love that kind of stuff. And I feel the more grounded in reality maybe Paradox could go, the more successful they'll be. And it, like I said, I'm not saying Imperator Rome is a bad game, but just the levels of abstraction that they've gone to, it's like, what if they went the other direction? What if they try to be more realistic? What would happen then? That's what I'm interested in seeing. And I don't know why they have yet to at least announce that they're going in that direction. There's been a little, couple rumors and stirrings that they might be, but we got to see. We got to see.
Yeah, sometimes I guess to kind of cap this section, I mean, sometimes less is more. Sometimes they kind of need to they should take a step back and say, we don't need all of this to make people happy. We need this, this, and this. And let's ask some people then, what would you like to see? I mean, despite all of this, they have a really good reputation. So they have rocky launches, they have rocky things. People don't like X, Y, and Z about certain games. But, I mean, it took them 6 years for us to all feel like EU4 is perfect. I mean, and it's still really not. I mean, it's just, they get things right over time. But in this world of gaming and game development, you have to be, that's becoming less okay. To be okay over time, you got to be okay closer to launch, and you can't make people pay for it.
And that's what actually has me. I don't want to say it's a concern, but I think that's probably the best word for it. Is, you say that Paradox has a good reputation. This most recent launch, now has me kind of wondering, kind of like what you mentioned at the beginning of the video. I think people's goodwill is starting to run out.
Yeah.
Especially kind of like you said in this environment, of Epic Game Store exclusives, right? Of people creating, all the EA Origin, platforms and everybody, segmenting their little portions of the internet with, different games and different platforms and Uplay and that sort of thing. A lot of controversy about Steam and the Steam platform in the last few years. I really do think that people's patience and people's goodwill is running out. And I don't want to see Paradox, either Paradox Interactive or Paradox Development Studio. I don't want to see them lumped in with the Epic Games of the world. I don't want to see them lumped in with the Ubisofts of the world, with the EA Activisions, or with the EAs of the world and Activision, that sort of thing. But I have to admit, I am concerned that the launch of Imperator Rome is starting to push people's goodwill in that direction. And people are no longer willing to tolerate, this kind of gameplay model, this kind of launch. It's it's a little bit of a concern to me. It's a little bit of a worry. I'm not sure where public opinion is going to be the next year, even.
Right.
It's they got a long road ahead of them, I think, to kind of come back from this. I don't know.
All right. I'm getting way too depressed now. Like, I'm so depressed now. Like, we need to get off of it. I mean,
these are important things to talk about. I think.
I don't even know these people, and I love them. And now I'm doubting their abilities. I don't want to do that.
Hey man,
I like them. I like these people so much because they have trusted them for so long. All right. Anyways, off the topic. No more Imperator. Okay, let's move on. EU4 Dev Diary came out just a couple days ago, and it had some promising talks. Okay. Primarily, they're talking a little bit about how being able to, those of you who have moved to 4K, I have not, but those of you, Adrian, I think you did actually.
I'm in 1440p myself. Yeah, 1440p. Okay. And so honestly, what he's talking about, UI scaling, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a big deal for me.
I didn't even know this was a thing, but I'm sitting here like, guys, go look at the dev diary. Seriously, I'm not going to throw this on the screen, but on the dev diary, it's like the 4K, at 4K monitor at 100% UI scales. I need magnifying glasses to read that.
Yeah.
And just bring it down. 150's better, but not that great. And at 175, you start getting closer to what we're used to.
I'll talk in my own personal experience about this. A few of the campaigns I did, I think a year or two ago when I switched to 1440p, I did them in 1440p. And just the number one complaint across the board was people were telling me, especially on their phones, like, dude, I can't read the user interface. I can't read the text. I can't read the events. It's just too small. And, I could see things just fine. Then again, I'm playing on a damn 27-inch, 1440p, 144 hertz monitor, and so it looks good to me, but I kind of forgot, like, shit, people are still in 1080p, like, everywhere. They don't have the luxury that I have of having this resolution. And so now, unfortunately, I have to record EU4 in 1080p, and that's just for the sake of making sure my viewers can actually view things, and so it's just one of those things. It's so small. You think UI scaling is really common in modern day games, and yet shit, EU4 doesn't have it, and they're trying to get it, but it's one of those features it just doesn't have, and it makes you wonder, like, damn.
I don't know. No offense to any mobile viewers of myself or Adrian. I don't think about y'all when I'm recording. All right. I mean, no offense to you guys, because I know that's a large segment, but this is a game that's meant to be played on a computer. And there are times that, I just have to understand when I'm watching these videos that, I watch Adrian. I pretty religiously watch Adrian when he pops stuff out, just because I'll learn so much from his, especially on EU4 from him. I've got to go. Sometimes you've got to be prepared to go into full screen. And full screen on a phone does not give you what full screen on a computer will. I mean, it goes without saying. Just same as how on my 29-inch screen is not going to give me what a 72-inch screen will give me. The ability to read like that is just not the same. And you get these games were never meant to be that small. So understand that, those things are going to have problems. but I shouldn't be having the problem that I'm seeing here with 4K at 175 being just about equal to what we can get, in 1080. So there's that. I think the bigger thing though is what they were talking about with the HRE. The HRE, in for those of you who don't know, it has been a very long time since Europe got an actual update. Not like a expansion on mission trees or things looking, borders looking a little bit better or an addition of a new province. I mean, we're talking about an update that actually reforms how things how things are done in Central Europe and Eastern Europe too. I think actually it's probably been since Third Rome that anything really got done to that. Am I correct in thinking that?
I want to say Third Rome. Yeah,
I want to say yeah. Back in my wee small boy hours of playing EU4 when that one was released. And I kind of like some of the things that they're talking about though. I mean, they're talking about as far as, giving the HRE more, as the emperor to actually do more than just deal with a bunch of little, crappy little kingdoms around you who you just happen to kind of loosely lead. Giving a little bit more to do there, a little bit more to, handling the Burgundian secession situation. I mean, that's huge. And the fact that it's a toss up between yourself, Castile, France. I mean, like, why? That shouldn't be a thing.
I wish it was more dynamic. Yeah.
Let me get in there and let me handle that. Let me, I'm not sitting here saying as Austria being the emperor, I should always be given it. What I'm saying though is let me have a little more sway into how that gets cut. Maybe let me decide, maybe depending on my hold of the HRE and my relations with Burgundy, let me decide if I want to incorporate it all, or if I'm not stable enough, let me cut them up into little hypothetical nations. I don't care, but let me do more with it. And I thought that, a little bit more past, what we do in Italy with the Shadow Kingdom would be great. So, I mean, I think it's huge to even talk about the Europe expansion, because we're talking about not just, Austria and not just some parts of Italy. We're talking, everybody's big favorite person to play in the region, and that's Brandenburg for Prussia. I mean, that's huge. Getting some changes there when we haven't had changes in so long, I think maybe it nerfs Space Marines, maybe it makes them stronger. Who knows? I'm just interested. I want to see what they do.
And I hope, kind of what you're talking about, the Burgundian inheritance. I do hope for some more dynamism, and some more input on things, or even the rise of Prussia, right? I hope there's more. I at one time hope there's more historical progression, and that you'll probably see Prussia more often, and there's a way to influence that type of formation. I really hope they do something like that, because I do feel. I mean, I kind of see the same things, every game. Castile or usually Austria will get the inheritance, and for some reason Bohemia becomes really big. You don't see Prussia as much. And lately, I've been saying Protestantism goes crazy. Like I really have not seen a strong Catholicism nine games out of 10 that I've done lately. And I really do wish there's a little more dynamism going on. I hope things are a little more fresh.
And I would love. I mean, just there should be, because of the game is of EU4 is EU4. It's not historical. After a few years, it should not be historical. It should not be a historical simulation anymore. It should be a anything goes. Little bitty. Alsace could take over. The western regions of the HRE and be against the Netherlands. I don't know. I mean, just it should be like that. In that same respect, it should almost be like, hey, this game is, it's a 50-50 toss-up between Protestantism getting entrenched and Catholicism beating the crap out of it, and never in Protestantism is like a few, one province minors that hold it. I would love to see that, just because you never know what you're going to get, and it's a new situation every time. You don't know. That might be the time that Protestantism just goes ape and controls 95% of the HRE. It could be the one that controls 60%. Could be one that controls 25%, or could be controlling none. I don't. I want to see, or it could be the one that Protestantism just gets beat in the emperor sees what's going on, and one of the North German provinces declares war and ends it. Similar to how a player could do. I'd like to see that more. And they address it. They say Catholicism is widely considered a poor choice of religion. I think especially in Central Europe and the HRE. I mean, in Western Europe, you're Spain, you want it because it's great for colonizing and all, but after that, there's no reason to have it.
Yeah. And it's actually interesting. I also do kind of hope for a little more of I don't know if proximity is a word for it, but I kind of do wish there was more interaction and more proximity between the different types of Christian churches. So I do want, like, for example, Eastern Orthodoxy, like there's supposed to be this patriarch, there's supposed to be the this religious head of the Eastern Orthodox Church, not to mention Catholicism, right, with the Pope. And then in England there's supposed to be the head of the Anglican Church, which is the King or the Queen of England. And yet I feel like there is no interaction between these persons or these institutions, really. I really wish there was more of this national or even international sort of discussion between these heads of religions and how that could play out, in the EU4 stage, in the European theater. Right now, they just feel just like separate entities that have nothing to do with each other. When, if you look at the history of it, I mean, they had a lot of communication with each other. They had a lot of rivalries with each other. They had a lot of competition with each other for usually legitimacies. People trying to always claim, "Oh, I'm the rightful defender of Christianity. You're not." Where is that? I don't see that in EU4. Where is that interplay? Where is that discussion on the international stage between these very large, sects of religion?
Well, and let's face it, if the day ever had came where the Ottomans were marching on Rome, you had better believe some of those Protestant guys are going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. We may not respect the Rome as the leader of our faith, but we definitely don't want them taking Rome. I mean, it's still a sacred place. There are sacred artifacts to our religion in that city. We don't want them taking it. We'll go fight with you. There would have been more of that, more outside the whole, how EU4 handles us now. We're allianced. We're going to be alliance members, and we're going to help defend each other, and I think there needs to be a little bit more of that too. I agree. So,
or particularly, after the Ottoman conquest of Byzantium and Constantinople in 1453, the Ottoman Empire declared itself a caliphate, right? And it said, okay, we are the Sunni caliphate. There is a head of the Sunni religion, and they held that title until the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire in 1919, right? Or I think actually they officially relinquished the title in like 1920, 1921. That's over 500 years of trying to say, I am a legitimate institution, you must respect our word. Kind of the same thing as the Catholic Church and the Catholic religion, is the Pope was respected for literally centuries, millennia. This person was seen as a head of an institution. Kind of the same thing with the Eastern Orthodox Church, is they had a patriarch that had a lot of legitimacy in the lives of everyday Orthodox people, and it was somebody that they worshipped and revered. Where is that interplay? I want to see more of that. I like, imagine if the Ottomans could say declare this caliphate, and Sunnis had to obey, or there was this interplay between different Sunni nations. It'd be really interesting, I think. And where is that depth? I want to see that depth.
Yeah, I can agree. Running low on time, so
we got a few more minutes.
We'll move on a little bit. I guess I talk more to this one right here. Game of Thrones, after the battle, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about here. Pivotal moment in Game of Thrones, been leading to it for seasons and seasons and seasons. It finally happened. I think we were all shocked by the ending of that. I'm not going to ruin it for people who haven't seen it yet. I think you definitely need to, if you're watching this after the fact, you need to pause it. If you need to go to the bathroom or get you a drink or something like that, because you will miss pivotal things. I can tell you that right now it's 9:54 on the East Coast. It's the new episode's live. I don't know yet, but when we end the stream, you better believe I'm going to go watch it. There's a, we need to find out who lives, who's alive, because we still don't know, and there's still 2-3 episodes left. That's just going to be pivotal in how this whole thing plays out, and we just don't know. I think it's similar to what our next topic is, which is a little bit more on Endgame. I still have not seen it. I'm sorry. I meant to do that this weekend. I kind of planned it to where Friday I would go off to, I'd go off and go see Captain Marvel, and then Saturday I'd go spend Endgame. And Friday turned into, personal. My girlfriend a little overwhelmed with things, and movies was not in the plan. And then Saturday getting completely scorched by this southeastern heat, so I was not willing to go sit in a air conditioning, even though it's air conditioning, but I didn't want to go sit inside of a dark theater for long. So I mean, I'll get to it during the week.
I'll tell you right now, when I went to go see Endgame with my girlfriend on the Thursday, so technically the day before the opening day, I guess. Dude, that place was packed, and I was sweating my balls off. Okay. It was insanely hot in that movie theater. I don't understand. I'm pretty sure they had AC. I think it was just the amount of 21 to 24-year-old, males and females pumped up with, adrenaline and excitement for Endgame. Literally it was scorching hot. It was probably like 85, 90 degrees in that place. I was soaked at the end. And it's a 3-hour movie. So you can understand my discomfort.
See a bunch of little Southern ladies like, oh, it's so hot in here,
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I went by Friday night, and it's been a week, week and a half, 2 weeks now. I don't know how long it's been since that movie came out.
Yeah, barely a week, I think. Yep.
Yeah. So when I went by Friday night at like 10:30, 10:45 by the second tier, we have a great theater, 15 screens, and we have another one that's like 13. It's not the worst theater in town, but it's definitely not the one you usually choose to go to first. It's 10:30, 11 o'clock. It is packed out from the door to the back, where there's a shot, there's like a car lot there. And believe me, it was packed out. We're just everybody parked there. And I know exactly what everybody was there for. Endgame. So I was kind of glad we didn't get to go.
This movie, actually, it's pretty crazy. This movie is the first movie to break $2 billion at a record pace. It took just 11 days. That's worldwide gross. I believe right now, after just 11 days, it's $2.2 billion world gross. And the record for the most gross revenue ever was the movie Avatar. I don't know if you ever saw it in 2009 with the blue people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that record's 2.4 billion after, I think it's like 44 or 48 days. Pretty much Endgame is going to beat that almost certainly.
Nah.
Almost
it won't make it.
I'll tell you it will. And that's what's crazy is like we thought Avatar getting $2.4 billion in like over a month and a half was a big deal. This movie's just going to blow that shit out of the water. You know, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, damn, like our world is changing, and our world is still able to accomplish amazing financial feats. Whether or not that's good or not, I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. If you want Endgame to make money, then you're happy, and if you don't, then you're not. So
more Avengers for you?
Yeah.
I mean, all Mickey Mouse, man, all Mickey Mouse. Anyways, I think the coolest thing to come out of it, though, is, I'm a big person of wanting to own them after. So they have announced this in-game, and the Infinity Saga box set of Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff with all the bonus content, pretty much bringing you up to speed if you didn't have any of them at home. I only had one movie, and that was just the first Avengers. So I think I'm going to buy it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to cost me like $500.
Holy shit, Blu-ray?
22 movies. Like think about it though. 22 movies that it cost you 10 to 15, $20 a pop. I mean,
I'll tell you, I bought the Harry Potter franchise in Blu-ray. Shit cost me like what, $70, $80? I think it was worth it. Honestly, for all the Harry Potter movies, they're actually pretty good. So,
yeah, I agree with that. $70 for what, 8 movies, but we're talking 22 movies. Major blockbusters. You're gonna get in game right when it comes out. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing at 500. It could probably be like 4. It might be. I'm gonna put the price probably closer to $250, but roughly $10 a movie.
Ooh, Last thing I think we can bring up is there's a new movie on Netflix about Ted Bundy and about yeah. So it's called, I think, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Wicked or Vile, something like that.
But there's something,
Yeah.
but there's Vile in there. I know
Yeah.
that.
And I
Yeah.
saw it. I saw it on Netflix when it came out 2 days ago on Friday, and that's a good movie. I'll tell you right now, that's
Fell
a good
asleep.
movie. You fell asleep on it?
I fell asleep.
Holy damn! Okay.
That does not get me, man.
I don't know, dude. I gotta admit, I've studied serial killers and stuff. Ted Bundy is interesting, and people shit on Zac Efron as an actor.
They don't.
I actually
That
think
guy
he's pretty
deserves
good,
it.
dude. He's a
That guy deserves any praise he
He's a
gets
good actor,
from his
dude.
movies. He's awesome.
He's a good
I admit
actor.
it was not a bad movie, but it was Friday night and I was tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really do suggest you watch it. It's a good film. It kind of.
I need to watch it. According to my girlfriend, she actually watched the documentary series on Ted Bundy that came out, and she said it was she didn't learn anything new, but seeing it with Zac Efron she said it kind of helped with more of that whole tying it in, other than like a documentary does stage things. Seeing it as as an actual theatrical thing was better for her. That she could just be talking because Zac Efron's in it. I don't know. But there's nothing about this that's Zac Efron, folks. But still, I don't know. I thought it was kind of useful. I just want to ask the question: did you see the Sonic trailer?
Oh, dude, I did. God awful.
I don't know.
God,
I got a little happy about seeing Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik.
No, I'm happy about that too. But I'll tell you right now, I was absolutely not surprised when they announced publicly on Reddit that they were going to have to redo the CGI of that film because of the feedback they got. I was like, if that's not an oof, I could hear the oof come,
Look, it's going to cost them money, but let's face it. Remember that whole thing we talked about, listening to the viewers, listening to the fans. You know what? If the fans said it looked terrible,
believe them.
I don't know why, though, we did not get this from the get-go. It's almost like they looked at a picture of him from Sonic 1.
And they're like, make him look strangely more human. But it's weird.
It's like, I'm sitting here like, no, Sonic, you not realize how much of a badass Sonic is. Like, I don't even really pay attention anymore, but I know Sonic's a badass. He is that cool kid on the block, man. And then his best friend Knuckles comes to town. Like, I mean, these are like supposed to be cool looking people and cool cats, and they're just not. They went for this really cartoony look. And I was just like,
it scared the shit out of people. There was like a top thread on Reddit, and it was a surprise picture of Sonic, and the title was, "What the fuck is this?" Like, it wasn't even a person; it was like a thing. Like, what is this? And I'm like, dude, that's true, man. So, yep, I'm actually, I have to admit, I'm glad that they kind of just grab themselves by the balls, by the testicles, and they're like, all right, guys, we got to redo this shit because we saw this is a meme in the making if we don't redo this. So I gotta admit, I'll hand it to them for having the balls to say, okay, we're gonna redo this. We have to.
What made them think coming to the final cut for the trailer that was good? Like that makes me wonder about the rest of the movie. Like,
absolutely.
Is this just another? It makes me think: is this just another nail in Jim Carrey's coffin?
And kind of going back to what we were talking about, Imperator. It seems there is this disconnect between the developers and what the public wants, and I think it's useful to have some sort of self-reflection. I think some introspection into where that disconnect is and what does it consist of. I think that's important, whether you're making a movie, making a video game, whether you're a content creator. I think it's important to have that self-reflection.
Not to keep going over further, guys, but let's just ask ourselves this question. Who do you think the number one series of movies to look at right now are? Obviously the Marvel movies. They have done it right from day one until now. They've had small hiccups, but small. I mean, who all they've included? They've included, up until they couldn't anymore. Stan Lee. They've included execs at Marvel. They've included the comic book creators themselves and the artists, everything from the first one to the last one. They've done that. And we know this because there's interviews with them all. I mean, and they brought on directors and writers who were fans of the characters and the stories, and they wanted to continue, not just writing it to be a cash grab. Like, unfortunately, we've all thought Detective Pikachu is going to be that cash grab. I don't think it is. It actually good stuff review wise. But it's almost like they everybody else is going for cash grabs, yet Avengers stayed true to what Avengers was or is, and continues to do mega millions and billions in the box office. I mean,
and I agree with you. They didn't do it out of the kindness of their heart, right? They're trying to make money, but at the same time, through all of this, they've maintained their identity. They've maintained who they were as a comic book series and as a universe, and I think that's an achievement. I really do.
Yes, they've stayed true to the fans. I think that's the number one thing you can do. You have a huge base of people who watch your movies no matter what they are. Let's not make them crap.
Yep.
Sonic has a huge base of people. Believe me, I don't watch them anymore. I don't play with it anymore. I don't do anything to do with Sonic. But let me tell you something. Sonic will get me to the movie theater if I think it's done right.
Yep.
Same way as how Detective Pikachu it'll get me on Netflix when it comes around, but it will get me to watching that movie.
Let's hope for the best.
Yep. Because I think we could get what we really deserve, and that's an actual, a movie set in the Pokemon universe, traveling around with some person who's becoming a master. I think we'll get that eventually, and this is the way to do it. So, I mean, it kind of makes you wonder what's next for movies, though. If we're going this route of video games, what are we going to do?
True.
I mean, you get the one or two off for something else
that are unique and fresh instead of a remaster or something that we've already done.
I don't know, man. I need a new Hangover like that. Something funny, but I don't know, man. I don't know. We've kind of hit the time limit.
Yep.
Over a little bit, like we always do. But
I think it's been a good show. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much to Party Penguin 34 and Ryan to go for your Twitch Prime subscriptions. It means a lot. And any closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. I hope to reach Avengers Endgame this week so I can actually speak on it. I think the end of their quiet time will end this week, so I kind of have I'm up against the wall. Other than that, what's any games that you're playing outside of what you're streaming or recording that you can tell us about?
Let's see. I played a little bit of Counter-Strike yesterday, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Damn, that game is fun. It's addictive and fun. And then I played a little bit of Day of Defeat Source, actually. I might do a video of Day of Defeat Source on my YouTube channel. I know it's not my usual content, but believe it or not, I actually have a very long history with Day of Defeat Source, and I love that game. It's very dated now, but fuck, it's still good. Honestly, I would not mind a recreation of that game or remaster. And so I've been playing that. Gotcha. Honestly, though, I haven't had too much time for things. I'll be perfectly honest.
I've got a rare week where I have no second jobs. I don't think I'm supposed to be on the road at all. So I'm going to be outside of doing the things I do for my channel. I'm going to be doing some Ace Combat 7.
Oh, sweet, dude! You better stream that. Sure, I'll tune in.
I can't. It's on my PlayStation.
Oh, really? Shit,
I don't want to stream it through there. Yeah. I'll find a way to put it on at some point. But I've been playing. I've already reached like 75% through the story. So it's pretty good. I've enjoyed it. I always enjoy those games, though. I'll play the game 5 times.
That's cool.
Yeah. So.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Eat, Sleep, Game, Repeat. We'll see you guys next Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And you'll see this on YouTube, on our YouTube channels, if you're unable to get it on Twitch. And we appreciate you guys for coming on by. Thank you so much. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time.